Many people tell us about their experience with Extendivite. Just listen to what Glenn has to say.
Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Extendivite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75%. Dandruff, almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out. I would skip a beat, very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Wednesday, June 12th, 2019. And first of all, by word of explanation, Monday, I had to skip the show because I had to deal with, well, basically getting ready for this move. And I know for most of you listening to this program, it's very late in the evening or late in the afternoon, but here in Hawaii, this is the middle of the day. And this is when people tend to come on over and measure things and give estimates and so forth. So that was yesterday and today, but we're back live today, and we're going to finish out the week and hopefully just unload a lot of stuff at the weekend sale here. So anyway, let's get right on into it. First of all, our phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. That's 800-313-9443. Sam is in our control room, ready to answer the phone, put you on the air with your comments, questions, and observations. This first little story, and it kind of bothers me because it's an illustration of the declining civility that I'm seeing pretty much everywhere on the world. And apparently over in France, there is this war memorial to those who resisted and liberated the southern French commune of Nevache from Nazi occupation during World War II. And the monument is located at the Col d'Ichel mountain pass in the Alps and is dedicated to the Maquis resistance fighters. But apparently somebody decided to vandalize it with these far-left anarchist symbols. And apparently a nearby church was also vandalized with far-left slogans, including a demand for open borders. Well, France had open borders back in World War II, and it really didn't work out all that well. Now, here's a little bit of a mystery. The U.S. has sent over 1,100 military trucks to the Kurdish-controlled areas in eastern Syria. And apparently these trucks are carrying U.S. military and logistical aid. But these are areas that supposedly ISIS has already been cleaned out of. And that's a lot of trucks. And we're not talking about little Hondas. We're talking about these big military, very expensive trucks that are being sent over there. We're starting to see a bit of a propaganda blitz, if you will. Over at the New York Times, they had an article, Inside Syria's Secret Torture Prisons, How Bashar al-Assad Crushed Dissent. So already they're ramping up the propaganda again, trying to convince you, the American people, to support this war in Syria with your money and the lives of your children. So basically, they're recycling propaganda from 8 years ago. So they're back to thinking they're going to have a regime change. Just amazing here. Apparently, Israel is still bombing portions of Syria. They insist they're hitting only Iranian targets, but Syria is saying, no, actually, you're blowing up Syrian state property. And apparently, Israel basically just hit this Tel al-Hara, and it's known for being one of the positions of the Syrian air defense forces in the area. But Israel says, no, we only hit Iranian targets. Meanwhile, over in Iran, the Iranian ambassador to Britain, Hamid Bidinejad, said that it is the U.S. economic terrorism against Tehran that is endangering what remains of the 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and the world powers. Now, Iran and the rest of the P5 have been trying to keep this deal together. Iran has been in compliance with it, even though the U.S. has pulled out of the agreement and has punished Iran with multiple crushing sanctions. But now Iran is saying it's rather pointless to hold this together, that Europe has not done enough to shield Iran from all of these U.S. sanctions. And so Iran is saying, yeah, it may be time for this joint comprehensive plan of action to just go away. And apparently the ambassador also said on his Twitter page, the U.S. will paralyze the Instrument in Support of Trade Exchanges, INSTEX, by adopting countermeasures in a bid to thwart the EU diplomacy. So INSTEX was apparently this mechanism that Europe and Iran were setting up to bypass the dollar and evade the U.S. sanctions here. So what does the U.S. Treasury do? The U.S. Treasury Department has imposed new Iran-related sanctions on 2 individuals and a company in Iraq. So they hit these 2 Iraq-based persons for their alleged links to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, Maki Kazim and Mohammed Hussein, along with the South Wealth Resources Company. They've all been hit with secondary sanctions, according to the Treasury Department website. And basically, a number of measures can be enforced against these individuals, ranging from limiting their ability to do business in the U.S. to prohibiting all U.S. parties from conducting business with them. All right, we're going to do a shout out now to our honor affiliates who are just now rejoining our network, and we're going to take a phone call from Bill in Florida. Aloha, Bill. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Hey, I was just wondering, you're getting all packed up, ready to go here. How long do you think it'll be before you're back on the air again once you start this transition?
Well, obviously, I'm going to be off the air as short as possible. And what I'm probably going to do is set up a laptop where I can literally do the show from a tabletop in a hotel or, but hopefully it's only going to be a day or two. And, same thing with Claire. We've got to keep her up and running as well.
Well, what do you mean by Claire and up and running there? You mean her church music?
Well, partly, yes.
You mean her health?
Oh no, her health. She's definitely getting better. But yeah, I'm not going to be off the air for any longer than I can help it.
Okay, that's good. I guess your papers are all in order for you traveling and all that BS.
As far as I know.
I'm joking. Good luck. Good luck with your move there. I hope you're not off for too long there.
Well, same here. Same here. The actual move is going to be the first week of September. But we're starting on it now because we got a lot of stuff to get rid of, a lot of stuff to sell, and Claire and I are elderly people and we don't have a lot of strength, so we're trying to do a little bit every single day. It's still exhausting work,
I'm sure. It's inconceivable me thinking about like myself for packing up and moving.
Yeah.
I'm 72. I'm a little older than you, but still.
Yeah, I'm going to
Anyway,
be
good luck. I hope
67
the
in
move
another few weeks.
smooth and September, though, huh? Wow, you
Yeah.
really like to plan ahead, guy.
Well, yeah, we have to. And again, we've got so much junk to go through. Anyway, Bill, thanks an awful
Good
lot
luck.
for the phone call. And we've it's a lot of work. What can I tell you? And I'm not having fun. Claire's enjoying it. She's all excited. She's all enthusiastic about this. I'm ready to crate her up and FedEx her to the family back there in Indiana. Alrighty, so getting on back to our news here. Okay, over in Israel, Netanyahu is unable to get any more delays for his corruption cases, and so he's going to actually attend this October pre-indictment hearing that will decide his fate in all 3 corruption cases. They could just let him walk. But apparently Israel's Attorney General has been informed that Netanyahu will attend the hearing, but he came on out and said, please reconsider the date and delay it. So claims that there are dozens of missing documents in the state files provided to him. Stall. Okay. All right. Now, apparently, Israel police have recommended charging Mickey Gaynor, who's an associate of Netanyahu, with bribery for his role in Case 3000, otherwise known as the submarine affair. And the case refers to a series of allegations against close associates of Netanyahu, who it is claimed lobbied Israeli defense officials to sign deals with German shipbuilding firm ThyssenKrupp. And the multi-billion shekel deals, some of which date back to 2009, would have seen Israel purchase naval vessels and submarines from the German firm. Netanyahu's associates, however, are suspected of skimming millions of shekels off the top of the deals for their own personal profit. Now, speaking of Germany, they are looking at a law that would literally define the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement as anti-Semitic and ban it from being done in public buildings. Needless to say, Israel is lobbying the German government to enforce this law defining BDS as anti-Semitic. And Angela Merkel has yet to decide on a response to that. But interestingly enough, some 240 Israeli and Jewish academics and intellectuals have sent a letter to the German government urging it not to enact that bill that would define boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement as anti-Semitic. If it is passed into law, the currently non-binding motion, which was passed by the Bundestag in May, would be the first official law in Europe to classify BDS activity as anti-Semitic. Now, despite winning huge support among vast sections of the major parties, including the Social Democrats, the Free Democratic Party, and Chancellor Angela Merkel's Christian Democratic Union, the law has also drawn a significant amount of criticism and condemnation, as well as it should. It's an attack on freedom of speech. It's literally a law to make it illegal to criticize the actions of the government of Israel. That's what it's really all about. Now, there's an interesting little article. This one came out of Middle East Monitor. And we've long suspected it, but now it's been confirmed. The Mossad is basically involved in initiatives against the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. And this was exposed by a Freedom of Information request made by an Israeli advocacy organization, Hatzlaha, to all ministers, deputy ministers, and ministry directors general. Doing so would make the diary schedules of Strategic Affairs Minister Gilad Erdan, who has spearheaded Israel's de facto war against BDS, publicly available. Now, the diaries reveal that last year Erdogan met with the head of Mossad, Yossi Cohen, about the struggle against the boycott. Now, there'd been a lot of rumors that Mossad had assisted Israel in its anti-BDS activity. Today's disclosure basically confirms that. Something else Israel's also doing, they are maintaining a troll army, and it is a global influence campaign. It had a budget of $1.1 million last year, and basically it says it has offices in 3 different countries and an online army of more than 15,000 people. And it says its goal is to influence foreign publics and battle BDS. And they have an app that is issued to all of their online army. And I guess it's probably an updated version of Megaphone. But through the app, Act Ill, which is what they call themselves, issues missions to this troll army in exchange for a chance at cool prizes and scholarships. So basically, the app directs comments toward news websites in support of Israel's wars and racism while attacking Palestinians and solidarity campaigners. It's basically a giant online propaganda operation. Okay, Kushner is still floating about trying to push his deal of the century. And he's not getting a lot of traction. And a big part of the problem is that the Palestinians don't think they can trust him. And his response to that was, look, I'm not here to be trusted. I'm here to be a businessman. So Kushner's, look at the action so far. Moving the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. They've cut all the aid to Palestinians, including hospitals in East Jerusalem. They've shut down the Palestinian diplomatic office in Washington. They're doing all the wrong things to get the Palestinians to trust them. Really, it's just bad foreign policy. Okay, over the Eid holiday, when the Palestinians should have been celebrating and having their feast to break the fast of Ramadan, instead they were out in their farm fields dousing flames. And originally the Israelis said, well, it's the Palestinians. They're setting fire to their own fields. But somebody got some video footage showing it was Israeli settlers, including an off-duty soldier, who were igniting all these flames. Now, Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg said on Tuesday that if Israel annexes parts of the West Bank, the United States should limit its financial backing to Israel. Pete, not going to happen, but it's a nice thought. So apparently during his speech at Indiana University, Pete said that if Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu does go forward with his pre-election promise to annex the settlements in the West Bank, he should know that a President Buttigieg will take steps to make sure that American taxpayers won't help foot the bill. Well, nice sentiment, Pete, and I hope you haven't just shot yourself down. I haven't seen the latest poll numbers to know who's still in the running here. Okay. Israel and Lockheed have signed an F-35 maintenance contract. It's a $42 million contract. And basically, Lockheed Martin will support a training simulator and logistics management system at an Israeli Air Force base. So they're definitely gearing up with that aircraft here. Over in China, they are having major protests bordering on riots. In fact, I just saw it here on Fox News. And apparently it's over a proposed extradition bill that would allow Beijing, to take people from Hong Kong to stand trial in mainland China. And this is very contentious. The people of Hong Kong are kind of used to their autonomy, going back to when they were still a British possession. And they don't like the idea of being yanked from Hong Kong to someplace else. And this has basically triggered massive protests. They tried to basically break into the Hong Kong legislature early today, and they're still debating this. All righty, getting to our domestic politics here. David Axelrod is out there saying that Biden is playing into Trump's caricature of being weak mentally. And it does seem like it. And I even heard a comment that Biden was a better candidate before he became a candidate. We got to take a break for commercials. We'll be right back after these few words.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And we're going to go right back to the phones to Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Welcome back.
Yes.
I thought the man Uncle Scam got you.
No, just you know, unfortunately, I wear out very quickly when I'm having to lug stuff around.
I bet you're finding a lot of stuff saying, man, I know I got rid of that years ago.
Yeah, we're going through that, you know, and the reaction is like, you know, why on earth did I ever buy this in the first place?
Don't throw any Commodore video toaster stuff away.
Unfortunately, that's already gone.
Oh, I'm a big Commodore fan. So.
Well, so was I. I was an Amiga developer. I actually had one of the early prototype wire wrap toasters.
Oh, really? Yeah, my friend worked on the video. I think I told you on Sequest he was working on and all that.
Yeah.
That was Amblin Entertainment, I believe. Mike, you said how dare Beijing want to extradite somebody from Hong Kong? How dare we want to extradite Julian Assange from Britain? How dare we extradited Huawei's daughter from Canada?
Yeah.
You know, it would have hit. And I guarantee it's probably on the news about that. What's going on in Hong Kong with these protests and all that.
Oh, yeah. It got coverage on Fox.
Yeah, see? Yeah, they, you know, when they do it, it's bad. When we do it, like you said, it's good. I mean, what? Hey, Mike, by the way, I saw that video. This was like a week ago, I guess, with the Israeli settlers setting fires to the brush and running off. Yeah, I saw that. Man, what a scummy group of people. You know?
Yep.
I mean, I guess God told them to do it, huh?
I guess so.
But Mike, what's going on with like? I don't know. I don't watch CNN. I watched the highlights from 2 days ago. What Trump called in to CNBC. Man, he was like just rambling on about like the trade and.
Yep.
And did you know Trump was a member of the Council of Chamber of Commerce? I didn't know that.
Okay.
And then he ripped on them. Like, so I just don't know about Trump. It's I don't know where this is going. Like with the Chinese thing, because did you see now they're walking back the thing with Huawei and by the way, Mike, they're 2 years ahead in 5G.
Yeah.
So, but if they're stealing stuff, then how can they be 2 years ahead in 5G if they're stealing any 5G technology?
You know, I think a lot of this China stealing stuff, I don't know how much of it's really going on. I mean, there's always industrial espionage taking place both directions. But I think this is just more China bashing. And you're absolutely right. If they're 2 years ahead, then they're obviously not stealing 5G technology from us.
And also, Mike, when you're a company and you go over there, you have to share your technology. That's their rules.
Yes.
And if you go along with it, then you can't complain about it. And if the government lets you go ahead and do that, knowing that they do that, then the government shouldn't complain about it. It's only now where we're falling behind, we're bitching and moaning about it.
Yeah.
You know? And I was also, did you see on the Zero Hedge, there was like by Rabobank, I don't know who that is, but was saying, well, people are economists are saying Trump was right about, and then there's like the articles talking about like cell phone manufacturers coming back. There's no cell phone manufacturers coming back here. Like, there's no supply chain here. I don't understand why people can't figure this out. You know, if they'll move out of China to save a couple pennies, and they'll go to Vietnam.
Yes.
But those jobs are still not coming back here. So I don't understand why people have this fantasy of cell phones being made here. Because if they're made here and you set up supply lines here and build new factories, because we always hear we're going to build factories here. Who's we? Like, I don't have no money to build a factory. I don't think any of your listeners have no money to build a factory.
Nope.
Like, who's going to pay for building the factory here? Unless you want to subsidize it, which is socialism.
Well, they
You know,
they may have to. I mean, or they'll just print up the money, over at the Federal Reserve, and do a grant to somebody. But the fact of the matter is, you're right. This nation is broke. It's spent itself into bankruptcy on all these wars.
But not only that, Mike, what happens once you get the cell phone plant up and running? Like, how much are you going to pay the employees? How much is the phone going to cost? Who's going to be able to afford a phone that costs $5,000? Because their phone's $1,000. That's crazy. Whatever happened to the $40 phone?
Yeah, I miss those greatly here. Anyway, listen, stay on the line. We got to take another break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds, up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus magful clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down. Gaza tonight.
And aloha, Mirko. Welcome back to our show here. We're talking with Dustin in New Jersey, and we're talking about this idea of just plunking a factory down and starting to make cell phones here right in the good old US of A. And it sounds like it's a really good idea. But unfortunately, along with the decline of our great factories, there's been a decline in all of the ancillary support, the infrastructure that goes into a manufacturing economy. We're talking about, the supply chain, decent roads to get product to and from the factory. We're looking at a possible shortage of rare earth elements because of our friction with China. All of these are things you have to factor in there. And yes, with our higher cost of living here, even with as few employees as possible and a lot of automation, we're going to wind up with a cell phone that probably is going to be a lot more expensive. Now, of course, we know that the markup on current cell phones, smartphones, is enormous, because when they finally start making the deals over at the cell phone companies, you can see it go way, way down. Come on in and sign up with us. We'll get you an iPhone 10R or whatever the new deal is. And anyway, Dustin, it sounds really good, but it's going to take a long time. We have to start building our manufacturing from the ground back up again.
Like, we're not even getting any infrastructure bill.
No, we're not. Our infrastructure is crumbling.
Yeah, and Mike, did you hear how China can get around the sanctions by having their stuff tagged made in Vietnam?
Yes.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so there's always, and with the sanctions added to China, I mean, they have the ability to move around, and they also have time. China's playing the long game.
Yes, they always have. It's part of the culture.
And I just don't see this working out for us. I mean, it sounds good on paper and stuff, but unless you look at really what goes into, having the supply chain, building the factory, how much you're going to pay the employees, this, that, and look at what Amazon in New York. They, to put Amazon in New York, nobody wanted it there, but it would have added jobs. But I'd rather see Amazon in Ohio.
Well, I don't know how many jobs Amazon would add, because they're going heavily into automation as well. Total automation, getting rid of the humans completely. So, and again, it's a bad direction for the economy to be going with all this automation.
And Mike, what do you make of all these illegals still pouring over the border? Nothing's stopping anything. Nothing.
It's another classic case of lots of talk coming out of Washington, D.C., and not much else.
Yeah, I keep saying, though, Trump has the ability using the military, because the border is a national security issue. So I don't understand why he can't put somebody in the chiefest that can do. Because
he can. He can. He's got the authority to send those troops down to that border. I don't know why he hasn't. It's just, again, he's a weak leader.
All right, Mike, have a good show.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. The phone lines are now open. Getting on back to our domestic politics, and everybody is starting to campaign like crazy, and the first Democratic debates are coming up, I guess, in just a few weeks. And Biden is already showing that his sympathies are with the ultra wealthy, and he sort of dismisses the wealth inequality in this country, saying, "I don't think 500 billionaires are why we're in trouble." And he says if he becomes president, he's going to shrink Social Security and Medicare. All righty, so we're going to go back to the phones here to Tony in Puerto Rico. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Mike. Aloha. Yeah, I'm going to talk. I would like to talk about Fukushima.
Okay.
Are they going to be able to stop the leaking, Fukushima someday? What do you think?
I don't think so. If you look at the terrain it's sitting on and the geology underneath, it's just going to keep on leaking. I don't think they can do anything about it. There's no way they can put a cap over it because the radiation is basically down into what amounts to sand under the foundation, and from there it can just seep on out into the ocean.
So the whole world's still in trouble, huh?
Yeah, it's in trouble. We're still in trouble from 3 Mile Island and from Chernobyl.
Okay. And my other question is nuclear power, a power plant still a safe bet?
If it's run correctly, yes. If it's built correctly, yes. Unfortunately, these reactors at Fukushima were designed by General Electric, and even for somebody who's not a nuclear expert, I had some issues with them. For example, the control rods are pushed up from underneath rather than drop down from above, which means if you lose power, you can't shut the reactor down. That one just kind of leapt out at me. So maybe that we're trying to get around somebody's patent. I don't know. But I think nuclear power can be safe if it's handled correctly. In the case of Chernobyl, there was a serious design flaw that they were unaware of. And when they pushed the reactor during a safety test, it blew up. At Fukushima, of course, they had the quake and the tsunami, and the power plant should have been put up on stilts, or at least the emergency generators. There was one of these power stations at Onagawa where the guy in charge of construction, he just stood his ground and said, we're putting in a high tsunami wall and we're putting legs underneath the emergency generators, and that was the only power station that survived the quake and tsunami.
So we got to stick to bottled water and don't buy any fish, right? No fish products.
Yeah, that's another reason why we're getting back to the mainland. Yeah, the seafood around here is untrustworthy. It's a big problem with the sushi companies. They're having to fly their fish in from South America now.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thank you. And we're going to switch over to Ellis in New York. Aloha, Ellis. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. We hear all the time different counts and different amounts of people who are here illegally. Have you talked with anyone that can give you a pretty accurate account of just how many people are here without documentation or illegal aliens?
Well, I think probably the most accurate study done so far was done by MIT and Yale University. And they came up basically saying, we're not entirely sure. It could be as little as 22 million, could be as much as 29 million. We think it's 26 million.
So if they're given some type of amnesty, would that mean that they would be allowed to bring family members, which would, in many cases, double that number?
I have no idea. The biggest concern right now, of course, is they're all going to be voting next year, even though technically they're not supposed to. And they're being literally moved into just barely red voting districts in order to tip them just barely blue. That's what happened out in California for the midterms. 4 of their districts got transformed by all these immigrants coming on in and being registered to vote Democratic. And it's estimated at least 3 million people, illegal immigrants, voted back in the 2016 elections. We have no idea how many did in the midterms. Nobody's checking. Nobody's allowed to ask for ID. It's just a completely wide open system.
Well, as you know, here in New York, and then of course the sister state, New Jersey, it's throwing everything at them. It's giving them just about everything that they want.
Yes.
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And for some reason, Trump seems not to be able to. Well, I understand the limitation to presidential power, but he is unwilling or unable to put a halt to this. How about penalizing the employers? What about them?
Yeah, it's all Title VIII violations. That's a big problem. Remember, we were talking about we need a new program, we need this, we need that. We already have the laws on the books to take these people who are aiding and abetting illegal immigrants and fine them or throw them in prison. We've got so many unemployed legal American citizens that have not been able to find jobs for months, if not years. Why are we flooding our labor market even more? Most of these illegal immigrants coming on in, they're not going to be able to find jobs either, even if they want to. They're just going to sit there on SNAP or other handout programs, kick back and say, you know, El Stupido Norteamericanos. They're laughing at us.
Yeah.
They're laughing at us.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks an awful lot. And the phone lines are now open. Okay, we're talking about our domestic politics. We're talking about Joe Biden. And I'm looking at this picture of him in the conservative treehouse, and it's like if he were to grin anymore, it would meet the back of his head and the top would fall off. Apparently, Biden is reversing his prior policy on China. He's been saying China does not pose a threat to the U.S. or our global allies. And he's consistently downplayed talk of China as an economic or geopolitical threat to the U.S. But apparently he is now changing that. It's more than a reversal or a flip-flop. That's a triple Lindy. Okay, Biden is also saying that if he's elected U.S. president, he will cure cancer. Think there's a little bit of an unrealistic expectation there. First of all, nobody's looking for cures anymore. It's a bad business model. All right, we're going to go back to the phones here. Mike in Kentucky, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, maybe Joe Biden, you know, in his security clearance days when he was vice president, I guess he still got a security clearance. Maybe he got to see all those however many hundreds and thousands of patents that the National, the National Security Council has all these patents socked away for inventions we're not allowed to have.
Yep.
Could be he knows something he intends on letting loose. That could get him assassinated, probably. Anyway, his son died, I think, as a motivation. But what I was calling about is we're heading into this interesting election season. I think we got a little over a year till the presidential election. This weekend, I had another incident from the Twilight Zone. I had called back in January. I think you covered it, maybe the National Republic, what is it called? National Religious Broadcasters Association had threatened to sue because I guess they said they had proof that there was censorship of conservatives by social media. And so they were threatening a lawsuit against, I guess, Facebook or whatever. And I called because I tried to join them on the on their webpage and as an individual and as a local media cable access station, basically. And they never returned my voicemail. I couldn't make it through their webpage, and so I called and left them a voicemail. Well, over the weekend, I got two calls apparently. One call, when I sat down at 10 a.m., showed from the future on the caller ID. It showed I got a call from them on a Sunday afternoon at 1:37 at 10 a.m. on the 9th. I put a videotape up on my Facebook in a couple of places, but and then I looked back on Monday morning to call them again, and there was a call that showed up from like 2:33 in the morning. And so when I called and talked to the receptionist, he got a text message while I was talking to him. It said, "Our voicemail system has been hacked, and we're talking with Comcast about it." And my voicemail with the phone number had been left in January, so that whoever hacked their system, I have no idea why it would have called me over the weekend. It's kind of screwy, but that would imply, I think, that they got the content of all their voicemail server and information for months. And of course, when I read about, I think there was an Ars Technica or some web page that I found later that day that says this is the way that you can hack people's email. You go try to log in at an institution, all these email systems that they have, you go say you forgot your password, and then you go hack into their voicemail, and a lot of people will have the reset your password code will be
Yes.
sent to the voicemail phone number. So it could have been a white hat hacker, I guess, trying to get them to turn up their security a little bit ahead of this coming election, but it's just out of the twilight zone.
Well, I can understand why you'd be a little unnerved about that. And again, whether it's white hat or black hat, it's still hacking. It's still breaking into other people's computer systems. And I would love to see somebody doing something about all of it, because like the illegal immigration problem, it's just out of control. It's happening everywhere. We're hearing about, what happened over at Baltimore. We're hearing about what happened lots of places.
I was in Baltimore when that was happening. I was wondering why it seemed like the traffic was crazy. And I guess a lot more people had to go actually physically into the city offices to turn in their paperwork because the email system was held hostage.
Yes. No, there were a lot of there were a lot of city services that couldn't be accessed at all. They couldn't.
I heard it's costing Allentown, Pennsylvania, is having to pay out something crazy like $450,000 a year, and it cost them $1.5 million to fix the malware hostage thing that happened to Allentown, Pennsylvania. But yeah, it's and Julian Assange is being demonized for trying to blow the whistle for all this. The intelligence community was sitting on all these tools, knowing that a lot of these flaws were in the Flytrap Wi-Fi routers that they wanted left open. And I looked at that because somebody tried to sell me a 2007 Linksys router. And so I looked it up and I found out that thing's from 2009. I said, that's old. I could get a third-party firmware for it. But within a few days, boom, that story hits. And I noticed that Linksys had the firmware within about 9 days, going all the way back to stuff that they didn't officially support.
Yeah, Mike, I hate to do this. There's the music. We got to take a commercial break. Thank you for the phone call, and we'll be right back after these few words.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. There's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When your doctor tells you you have bad cholesterol or blockages in the arteries, what do? When diet and exercise is not enough, we try medications and hope for the best. For the last 2 decades, I have been telling people about a natural method to help solve these problems and more. Extendivite can help maintain cardiovascular health and lower blood lipid levels in adults. The 7 herbs in Extendivite are known to work together synergistically to get the results we hope for. There are many testimonials on Extendivite's effect on circulatory-related ailments. Get Extendivite today to start your journey back to a healthier life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or see us on amazon.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here, and we're going to go right to the phones. Terry in California, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Mike, just one quick point. You might think this is radical, but I think the Democratic Party is controlled and owned by the globalists. And I think they have a strategy to get all these illegals up here, promise them all these benefits. And, you know, when power promises something, they get it for a while and then they cut them off.
Yes.
And when they do that, maybe the monetary system's going to go down. The whole thing's going to go. They're going to go crazy up here. The whole country's going to be destroyed, and the globalists can just take over. And I think Trump's all part of it. I think he was a scam from the beginning. I had all these hopes, you know, and nothing's being done. And everything that he's doing now supports the fact that he's part of the globalist power.
Yep.
You know, go ahead and chew me out. I want to be chewed out, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I'm in agreement with you.
Okay, well, people ought to start thinking about that. And, you know, the thing is, Joe Biden's leading him, was it 53 to 40%? And the polls, you don't know if they're lying about that or not. But either way, they can't lose, the globalists, because either Trump gets back in and they got their puppet there that has fooled everybody in the country, or they got Joe Biden, and you know he's part of the Democratic Party, which they own. So anyway, that's just an idea I want to throw out, and I hope I'm wrong, but it looks like I'm right. Okay, Mike, thanks. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Robert in Germany, and aloha, Robert. V. Gates, and what's on your mind?
No worries, Mike. I speak English. I've been long-term listener of yours. And basically, just the only thing I wanted to say is I think you should maybe call Ryan Dawson or Adam Green to talk a little bit about all the people being banned from social media and just this bloody disaster, and everybody is moving to BitChute.
Yes.
And maybe they can say something about it, or exactly what is the way forward, because obviously I don't want to keep losing channels of the stuff that I really want to listen to.
All right, I'll do that.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Cheers, dude. Bye. Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks an awful lot. Okay, the phone lines are open. Now, Representative Steve King, he's an Iowa Republican, and remember he got into a little trouble earlier this year where he got stripped of his congressional committee assignments. And to add insult to injury, he was not allowed to fly aboard Air Force One yesterday on President Trump's travel to Iowa, which is the state that Representative Steve King represents. He represents the 4th District in western Iowa, and apparently he asked the White House to join the president's entourage, but was rejected. So a little bit of a snub there. And I guess he had to take an ordinary airplane here. Okay, the House has voted. Okay, there's the music. We got to take a break. Back with hour 2 after these few words.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth. What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. Hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And we have a caller waiting on the line. Al in Canada. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. You were mentioning about Trump being a weak leader. I sent you a YouTube video. It's about 20 seconds long on the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, being asked a question about plastic bottles. He wants to ban plastic,
Yes.
single-use plastic by 2021.
Yep.
Yeah, the guy's an absolute disgrace. So, you know, he's just a stumble-bum disgrace, mumbling his way through this. I don't understand how anyone could not have the forethought of actually being asked a question, well, what have you done, you know, to limit your use of single-use plastics? You know what I'm saying, Mike?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah. And, you know, but Trudeau, and for that matter, Trump, they just, and for that matter, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they're just out there with their sound bites. You know, this is an era of soundbite politicians where they just say whatever comes into their head that they think will get voters to like them. And they have they don't think it through. We've already seen that with Alexandria and her Green New Deal. And the same thing about getting rid of plastics. Getting rid of single-use plastics would be a really good idea. Certainly we can reduce them. You know, I remember back when I was a kid, there was no plastic. Everything was a glass bottle. And you took the empties from your soft drinks back to the store and you got your deposit. In fact, you know, we'd walk along Oak Hill Road with a wagon and pick up all the empty beer bottles that people had just thrown out their windows. That was a good way to make some candy money on the weekends.
They just throw them out the windows, Mike?
Yeah.
Wow. When I was a kid, we used to go pop bottle collecting. Same thing, but, you know, we knocked on the door because there weren't any on this being thrown out of the windows, at least the windows that weren't broken anyway.
Yeah.
But so I want to change it up really quick. I don't know whether I saw it on your website or a link through, you know, something I saw through on your website. This MAP thing going on.
Yeah.
With these minor attracted person.
Yeah. I don't care.
Very scary.
I don't care what they try and rebrand themselves as. It's, to my sensibilities, it's still sick.
Mm-hmm. It's not. I think it's beyond sick. I mean, what they're trying to do is sick, but it's a mental illness, and they're just shuffling. They're just sweeping it under the carpet. I don't know, like. I don't understand how anyone can get away with this sort of thing, but I know for a fact on your website I saw something. It was like a list of all these people, these conservative voices And I was looking for you. I didn't see you, but I did see Jordan Peterson in there.
Yeah.
So, you know, and he's really popular on YouTube. I'm waiting for him to be deplatformed.
Well, I went back and I took a look at all the videos that we've done over the years, and they're pretty low key. And so far, I have escaped the notice of YouTube management, both for the political videos that we've done and for Claire's music videos, some of which have controversial topics on them. But so far, so good. I suppose at some point we can go to BitChute. I understand there's a lot of social media companies opening up in other countries, and they're becoming very popular. So one way or the other, we're going to get out of this little prison that Facebook and Twitter and Google have built for us.
Yeah, I'm really hoping so, because these social platforms have obviously, well, they seem to think that they can call their own shots around the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, like some people, I don't like saying it, but some people are stupid enough just to put up with it. I don't get it. Like, you know, I'm not a YouTube star or an Instagram star or any of that kind of nonsense. I'm just a regular Joe that goes to work. And, you know, I don't spend my life on social media. So it doesn't affect me, but I see it affecting society. And that's what concerns me, because some people are very impressionable, especially the younger folk. And, well, you know, I'm glad I'm not that age, Mike. I want to be that age, but when I was young, you know, like 40 years ago, not now. So, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate your time, Mike. You have a good show.
All right, thanks an awful lot, Al. We're going to let you go and switch over to Mark in Montana. Aloha, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Howdy. Hey, while you were talking about social media, guys, go look up MeWe. It's a freaking awesome social media site, and it's so like if you like dogs, you can be in dog pages and whatever. But anyhow, that's not why I called. I kind of wanted to call and talk about why you can't just take a factory and flop it down somewhere and expect to be able to produce a product. The educational level of our young people is, I don't think most of them could play with Tinker Toys. I think Tinker Toys would be too complicated for them. It's ridiculous. I work out in the oil field, and I'm responsible for these kids, and I probably got a flush out rate of 70%, 80%.
That's pretty bad.
They're stupid, and they come out of high school. They have really no education. The reading and writing level, especially of the younger truck drivers, is, I mean, it's almost like reading a Japanese menu or one of these Chinese menus where they make fun of the word.
Yeah.
It's like that. We don't have the skill set in this country anymore to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't do it. These guys are, I mean, you know, you got to tell them don't stick your finger in there because you'll get it chopped off. It's that bad. And I don't know what's going to end up happening. I was talking to my sweetheart the other day, and we were discussing trade schools and how much better some of these guys would be going to a trade school than going to college, because they come out of college less educated than they were when they went in.
And deeply in debt.
I had a buddy that said the only thing I learned in college was how to open a beer with one hand and how to roll a joint with the other. You know, it's like, I'm thinking, God, you know. So I really think that we need to go back to a trade school system. The oil field has tried it for a long time. You know, bringing these young kids on and then working them up into getting their commercial driver's license and being able to operate some of the specialty equipment out in the oil patch. But they don't want to learn. They don't want. They're making $100,000 a year at 18 years old, and they don't want to work for it. They just want the money.
Yeah.
They don't want to put the time in. And I guess maybe my dad said that about my generation. I don't know, but it seems to get progressively worse. And I got to be careful about using those big words because they get offended at them. They don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
Words like progressively, and it's just. I don't know what to say about it, Mike. Another couple generations, I think we're going to be dumbed down to the point where you're going to have a few smart people and everybody else can be stupid. That's all
I'm
it'll
afraid
be.
you're right. I mean, I've been watching it for a long time, and Our schools are not educating young people; they're indoctrinating them. Political correctness, how to be triggered, how to do play. They're not learning the skills that they need to have to work in a modern technological factory. And
right. And I'm sorry. What a buddy of mine said is, a teacher is the only person that can get a job, have a 30% failure rate, and demand more money for what he or she does.
Okay.
If I had a 30% failure, and I'm not knocking teachers, please don't get me wrong. Two of the greatest influences on my life were teachers, but their failure rate it gets worse every year. 30% fail before they make it to the 12th grade, and I'm not saying that's all the teacher's fault, but there needs to be some kind of a motivation for the teacher to not fail like that, and they can't demand more money. There needs to be a compensation-based work ethic of some sort that where they get compensated for less failure, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Okay. You're absolutely right.
I don't know what. I mean, money talks, and you know what walks, and we just can't build stuff anymore in this country. We've taken the incentive away from the kid to take his bicycle apart in the driveway and put it back together again. That was one of the funnest things we did as kids.
Yes.
Take stuff apart and put it back together. That's not there anymore because they can sit in front of a television set and play Nintendo or whatever the game is, the Nintendo 64, and that's what occupies their mind. It's not the stimulation of doing something mechanical or what I used to do, and now you'd go to hell for it. Is I used to rebuild stocks for people that shot for rifle.
Yeah.
And they would bring the rifle in. I'd take the mechanism off, keep the stock in the wood shop, and refinish it for them. And hell, nowadays, it's a felony. You can get 10 years in prison for it.
Yep.
So I guess I'm getting old. I'm showing my age.
Yeah.
But
I know that feeling.
I had to top that.
I know that feeling.
I'm 51, and I'm working with all these young guys, But we just can't. We can't build anything anymore. Here I am in the middle of agricultural land, and I'm noticing everything is now mechanized. You don't have kids that can throw bales of hay anymore.
Yeah, well, somebody's building those machines, and, let's give a little nod to those people over at SpaceX and the other one, the competing one here, who obviously do have the smarts to be building some marvelous machines. But overall, for the general population, I'm in agreement. The years of Common Core have been an epic disaster.
Right. I recently took a trip out to, I believe it was Connecticut or Rhode Island, and we went to an old whaling port.
Yes.
And they had all the old ships still there, and you could just walk through them and look. And these guys, the average berth was 5'6", and these guys had to stay in these 5'6" berths, and they were out at sea sometimes 6 months at a time, and they rendered the fat on the ships. Well, one of the group of guys that lived in this small community, they still make the ships the old way by rough cutting the lumber and using pegs and putting it all together with pine pitch. And, I have a lot of respect for that because that's working with your hands.
Yes. Absolutely like that.
Anyhow,
Okay.
I thought I'd throw my 2 cents in.
All right. Well,
there, and you guys go check out MeWe. It's awesome. You'll love it if you'll really love MeWe.
how do you spell that?
MEWE, and it's a Facebook alternative, but it's more geared towards like groups. I'm a foodie, so there's like 7 or 8 little groups of people that put recipes up. Which I'm a boring guy,
Okay.
And there's gun shooters and other stuff. I think if you have a specialized interest, you would enjoy it.
All right. Well, I'll take a look at that definitely. And thank you very much for the phone call. We're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining our network. Anyway, getting on back. Oh, we have another caller. Art off the grid. Aloha, Art. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Mike. You and the previous caller, they were talking about, how the younger generation, like when we were young, our big thing was, me and my best friend, we had a 1974 Ford Galaxy 351, and for 351 Cleveland Harley 4-barrel dual exhaust 3/4 overhead cam. I mean, it rocked out hard. It was a muscle car back then, in in the late 70s when we were teenagers, and you'd always find us on the weekends. We'd be in the garage over at his grandma's house working on the engine, or one weekend we tore apart a Can-Am 125 and rebuilt it and took it out across cow pasture and just about broke our necks on it. But, you know, the younger generation, they don't do these things anymore. They don't go fishing. They don't build things. They see me buying lumber and hardware, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, I'm going to build, you know, this chicken house out here." And they're like, "Man, you can go to Harbor Tractor Supply and buy a little chicken house." I'm like, "What's the fun in that?" You know, it's amazing.
Well, you know, it's part of the conditioning that, you know, all problems are solved by going to the store and buying something. And, you know, people have been actively discouraged from repairing and maintaining their own products because the business model is they wear out, they get thrown away, and you buy a new one. And that's the model. One of the things that I've noticed over the years is the way cars are now being manufactured, except for changing a spark plug or something like that, you really have a hard time working on them unless you got lots of equipment and that special computer.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. And when I'm driving in town or whatever, you know, I get some kind of weird looks, and every once in a while I'll get somebody who walk up and, "What year is that?" And I'm like, "It's a 72, you know, and they're like, they never seen these kind of cars,
Yeah.
or all kinds of trucks. It's like they don't understand this is internal combustion. You can work on this thing, you know, but it's just I find it astounding that the younger generation does not have these interests in being self-sufficient, able to fix their own stuff, able to build what they need instead of having somebody else do everything for them. You know, it's just they'll sit in front of that computer and they'll just go all day long. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that thought and also ask, what was that alternative to Facebook he was talking about? I want to check that out.
It's called MeWe, MEWE. I'm going to check it out myself. Anyway, Art, we're going to let you go here and switch over to James in North Carolina. Aloha, James. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hello, Mike. I wanted to find out these people that are now out, you know, roaming the streets of San Antonio, Texas, from Africa, from the Congo. Has anybody determined who paid their airfare, how they got into this country?
Yeah, that's a real good question. I mean, obviously, you know, somebody dropped them off in Mexico and they walked across the border. But it's very alarming, the fact that they are from the Congo, which is still unable to contain that Ebola outbreak. And whatever strain this Ebola is, it's like 60% lethality rate. So 2 out of every 3 people who get it are going to die. So they're not being screened. Some of these people from the Congo who are wandering around Texas right now could conceivably be incubating Ebola.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that they would have the resources to buy a plane ticket from either Africa or Europe or wherever it is they flew in from.
Well, without knowing more about them, I mean, it is a war zone at the moment, or there's a lot of violence, and usually in a war zone there is a lot of money floating around for weapons and guns and stuff if you know where to get it. So if somebody else paid for their tickets, you have to wonder why. And the important thing is somebody ought to be keeping and watching these people.
Absolutely, and I mean, if it's only going to take, you know, patient zero, you know, for an outbreak of Ebola. I mean, I'm afraid we're going to hear the headlines pretty soon. You know,
they may keep it under wraps. I mean, there have actually been a couple of Ebola cases that surfaced here in the United States, and the corporate media just basically, you know, put it back on the back page of the newspaper because they didn't want people panicking.
Well, I don't know how it would be hard to keep that under wraps if it got into a really major outbreak, I would think.
If it got into a large urban area and there were a lot of infections, yeah, it would be impossible to keep a lid on it. I think in the cases that I saw, this was a case of an individual traveler who was known to be ill and isolated on arrival. So they were able to basically sit on the story.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, listen, James, we're going to let you go. We're coming up on another commercial here, and then we're going to come back to our domestic politics. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha America, welcome back to our show here, getting back to our domestic politics here. The House of Representatives yesterday voted to allow a congressional committee to enforce subpoenas by taking uncooperative executive branch officials to court using a civil contempt resolution. Now, this is a little different from a criminal contempt of Congress, for which you can be fined and even thrown in jail. A lot of people don't know this. There actually are jail cells inside the Capitol building. They're not used anymore for that, but they did have them. So apparently this is Attorney General William Barr, former White House counsel Don McGahn, and this little war between Congress and the White House is really heating up, and I think that Trump may have done more harm than good telling his staffers to resist more subpoenas. Yes, it's a witch hunt. Yes, it's a fishing expedition, but the Democrats are going to spin it that Trump and these other two have got something to hide. And that will be more grist for the mill, as it were. Okay. And apparently over at, again, the House of Representatives voted yesterday to grant new legal powers to a key committee investigating the Trump administration, handing Democrats another tool to bore deeper into Robert Mueller's report on Russia's election meddling and potential obstruction of justice by President Trump. Now, the vote was 229 to 191, broke down strictly along party lines, no defectors, and it basically illustrates the entrenched divisions on Capitol Hill between Democrats who are still accusing Trump of conducting a cover-up related to Mueller's findings, and Republicans who are trying to keep Trump from what they're considering a witch hunt as they head into 2020. The Democrats' plan is to drag this out and make it an election year issue. Oh, we're still investigating. We're pretty sure there's something nasty there. Right up to November. Okay, over at Judicial Watch, they're doing such great work over there. Judicial Watch and the Daily Caller News Foundation released 16 pages of documents revealing that former Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland and Special Coordinator for Libya Jonathan Weiner coordinating with then House Minority Whip Steny Hoyer's National Security Advisor Daniel Silverbig to work on Russia dossier materials provided by Christopher Steele. So these are some of the players who put that hoax together. So this keeps going higher and higher. Back in 2016, Bill Maher was defending Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server, saying, you know, it's for efficiency. And actually, no, it wasn't. It was no more efficient than the guy. Well, today, he's changed his tune. Monday, Bill Maher admitted that Hillary Clinton was a terrible candidate who did obstruct justice with her secretive handling of the emails. So he's finally come around, as they were. According to a report by news outlet Axios, top Democrats are trying to recruit Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to go up against one of New York's two senators, Chuck Schumer or Kirsten Gillibrand. Now, Chuck Schumer would be very tough to beat. He's been there for a very long time. Kirsten Gillibrand probably a little bit easier as well. But they're definitely grooming her for an upward move. So we'll see what happens next year on that one. Story that came out of Blacklisted News, the FBI tragedy, elites above the law. And basically it's talking about all the revelations that have come out about what the FBI was doing with that Trump dossier material, with spying on the president, and say it's been this way for decades, where the top brass simply believe they could flout the law and pursue their own political agendas. And that makes them very, very dangerous to the American people, to the American system, actually. So Okay. Ron Paul came out with a little article today, and he's making the same observation I am. Says the United States is starting to fall apart like the former Soviet Union. And he says the booming economy is a bit of an illusion. And he says the American system is coming apart. And he just hopes it's as graceful as the Soviet system when they came apart. All right, we got to take another break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective, and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Do you or a loved one suffer migraine headaches? Listen to what scientist Kurt Hendricks has to say.
35 million people in the United States suffer with debilitating migraines. If you or a loved one are one of them, you need to know about MigraLief. Hi, I'm Kurt Hendricks, the scientist that formulated and patented the MigraLief migraine formula. MigraLief is a non-prescription dietary supplement recommended by neurologists, pharmacists, and pediatricians to address nutritional deficiencies in both adults and children over 2 with migraines. Try MigraLief for 3 months and see the powerful difference it can make in your life, or get your money back, no questions asked. Go to MIG911.com or call 800-MIG-7354. You can change your life today.
So if you suffer from migraines, don't wait. Call 800-MIG-7354. That's 800-MIG-7354, or visit MIG911.com.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus magful clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves
and aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go right back to the phones to Jim in Illinois. Aloha, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Michael. A couple of things. This afternoon, the Prime Minister of Poland met with Donald Trump. Donald Trump promised Poland that he's going to send over 1,100 more soldiers to Poland. The Prime Minister of Poland told Trump, I'm going to buy 35 of your F-35s. And while that was going on, 2 F-35s flew over the White House.
It's all stage managed. And by the way, I think he's the president of Poland, not prime minister.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Why is Trump sending 1,100 more troops to Poland?
I have no idea. Garrisoning Poland, to basically thumb his nose at the Russians.
Right. Okay. And the other story, I really did not notice this until I read the Mueller report for the second time over the weekend. In the report, and I thought it was kind of odd, he mentions the death of Selfridge, and he wants to know why was Julian Assange offering $25,000 for to find out who the murderer of Selfridge was. And I'm trying to figure out right now, why did he mention that in his report?
Good question. I'm surprised that he did.
Yeah. I mean, it's in volume 1, and I had to take a double check and say, wait a second, did I really read that correctly? Yeah, Selfridge's name is mentioned. He mentions that he was murdered, and Julian Assange, is offering $25,000 for the murderer. So, but don't you think that's kind of odd, though?
Well, yeah. He may have been trying to send a message to somebody to back off.
Right. Or maybe you should investigate what happened there?
Well, I think everybody already knows what actually happened there.
Right.
The possibility of an investigation is to use as a political tool against somebody.
Are you talking about like Hillary?
Hillary or anybody else who's involved in the DNC. I mean, there were a lot of people that were caught up in all of that stuff. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure right now probably a lot of Republicans, even a lot of Democrats, are hoping that Hillary's not going to step back in this year. But of course, we're coming up on the first of the Democratic debates, and the longer she waits, the harder it's going to be to get any momentum going.
Right. Well, as it stands right now, because you mentioned this earlier, right now Biden is number 1, Bernie is 2, Warren is 3, and that Mayor Pete is number 4.
Okay.
And I have to agree with you. I think Biden is losing something. He might have a good start right now, but when it comes time to the real debates, I think he might lose a lot.
Yeah. Like I said earlier in the show, somebody said he was a much better candidate than before he became a candidate.
And I would agree with that. But, and again, I'm not a fan of the Democrats, and I don't know if I will vote for any of them because I'm not happy with the Democrats or with Trump. So it would be a very hard decision come November of next year.
Yeah, it will be.
So, well, Michael, you take care and keep on packing your stuff up.
Yeah. Got a lot to do.
All right,
all right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. All right, let's talk about the economic news for a little bit here. The stock market is doing great. It's closing in on an all-time high, and they're out there just cheering it to get over that. They're treating the stock market like it's a sporting score, and I'm not sure that that's actually a healthy thing to be doing, especially in a time where a lot of people are saying the market is heavily overvalued. So apparently stocks rallied on the expectations the Fed is going to be cutting interest rates in the near future, that Trump is going to stand down from his threat to put tariffs on Mexico, which he did Friday, and stock market responded. Now, gold is at or near all-time highs against some major world currencies. So if you bought in when it was low, you're very smart. Hang on to it. Over in Los Angeles, there are now some 16,000 people living in their cars, vans, and recreational vehicles. In fact, somebody actually sent me an email with a link to a website about, Claire and I ought to consider getting an RV to live in, which would certainly be convenient for driving around. But I think we need a little more floor space than that. So they're trying to basically institutionalize this system where they're going to have these parking lots that have plumbing facilities, security, and people can just park there and live in their cars, sort of like Campgrounds of America on a budget. And so they're looking at basically $20 a night to park your car there. Okay, we're going to take another phone call. Mark in North Carolina. Aloha, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Okay, Mike, I'd like to read you something. It's a Facebook post. I'm not going to mention the name who wrote it, but just to show you what kind of trouble we're in with with some of these fanatics.
Okay.
Let me see if unless she picks the post.
Hello?
All right. She raised one of her posts already, but here's one. She says to Mark, "Your idol for one is Tulsi Gabbard. I see she is all for abortion. Well, I don't know if she's all for abortion. What's the Affordable Care Act? She doesn't. She actually wants, I think, national health care system. Supports raising taxes and is Hindu, which means she is an M." Now, she said that a lot worse than other posting, but evidently she erased that post already, which means she does not believe in God, but Allah. Who is Allah? You tell me. Now, first of all,
well, that's a big mistake there because Hindus do not believe in Allah. That's Islam. And, I mean, Hindus...
I told her.
Yeah.
I told her. I said, first of all, to another post that she mentioned, who are, let me see, where is
Hello?
I said,
we can't have any dead air. We can't have silence.
No, I'm sorry. Are you still there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm still here.
I told her that. Okay, I told her that the Islam is much closer to Judaism and to Christianity because they're all three are Abrahamic religions than is Hindu, which is not an Abrahamic religion, as not Buddhist. And but she still says any religion, I guess, other than Christianity, I guess, thinks Judaism is an M, which to her, I don't know why she doesn't just say it, Muslim. So this woman is crazy. But what I'm trying to say though, Mike, is I'm afraid there's much more of this among Trump supporters. He's a big time Trump supporter, and actually he was a Facebook friend of mine up till recently. I don't consider her a friend anymore with that type of thinking. But I'm afraid we're in trouble. I'm afraid this type of thinking prevails. These religious fanatics are going to get us into World War III if we let them. A lot of them still think Putin is a communist, even though he really is a Christian. He's an Eastern Orthodox Christian.
Yep.
As is much of Russia today. So these people don't know what they're talking about. So
no, they just.
I don't know, Mike. What do you?
It's like I said earlier in the show. We live in the era of the soundbite. People get a soundbite into their head. That's it. That's their new reality. Nobody verifies facts anymore. We're living in a post-truth world.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
It definitely seems that way. Because here's my here's what I wrote back to her. I said, first of all, who are enemy idols? Who do you think your idea of God is 100% right? Why do you think the idea of God is 100% right? You take what you read in the English version of the Bible and take every word literal, yet it was written thousands of years ago in a language very difficult to translate and understand today. While you slander the Hindu religion, it is the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam that has the world on the brink of nuclear war. That was you, Linda. I shouldn't say your name, but I have first name, Linda, that's drinking the Kool-Aid. By the way, that expression comes from Jim Jones, himself a pastor.
Yes.
Most people believe in God, but not necessarily the way you do. So again, who are supposed to be my idols? He said my idols, and then she answers, Tulsi Gabbard and the people like that. So what I'm saying is we're in trouble, Mike. We really are, because seems to be pretty typical now of a lot of these fanatical Trump supporters. And on the other
Well,
side,
I
you got
mean,
the
if
hardcore
she's looking positively at Tulsi Gabbard, then she's likely a Democrat herself, and that means that in 2016 she was a Hillary supporter.
Well, no. She's a Trump supporter from the get-go. I'm talking about this woman that this Facebook individual. She's but she's a religious fanatic. She is saying that Tulsi is a Muslim, which is so stupid. I mean, if you're going to say stuff on, at least have some idea what you're talking about. Have some idea of not only history of what certain religions are. They do not believe in Allah. They do not. They're not an Abrahamic religion.
No, I understand.
That's
I understand. All right. Well, listen, Mark, we're going to let you go and have fun dealing with these fools that be. But you're right. People are just too quick to just grab a soundbite and they say, "Oh, that's what I'm believing and acting on today," and we seem to have lost our capacity for rational consideration and careful thinking before we open our yaps. So, Mark, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. The phone lines are open again. All righty. We're talking about the economic news, and we're talking about the homeless problem. It is so bad that diseases from the Middle Ages like typhus are coming back. And a lot of it, obviously being carried by the rats, which are infesting the piles of trash and waste in places like Los Angeles and up in San Francisco as well. Okay, Kamala Harris has got a new idea. She wants to improve teachers' pay, which would be nice. We could cancel some of these wars and pay for it. But her idea is that she wants to increase the estate tax, meaning the death tax. See, even dying doesn't get you off the hook. And apparently NBC was out there saying, "Oh, this is a wonderful idea," but it isn't really, because it hurts farmers. And Trump got an earful of that in Iowa. And one of the biggest threats to family farms, like the ones in Iowa, is the death tax. Because of the value wrapped up in all aspects of farming and its illiquid nature, it can become nearly impossible for families to keep their farms when they're forced to pay massive death taxes after somebody passes. So, all right, Russia's getting ready to launch the Nord Stream 2 despite objections from Denmark. And Russian Energy Minister Alexander Novak said Denmark would eventually provide the necessary permits for completing the gas pipeline from Russia to Europe, despite aggressive U.S. attempts to block the project. The U.S. does not want that pipeline to go through, because then Europe is going to buy more gas from Russia instead of the United States. Now, the Nord Stream pipeline passes through the territorial waters of Russia, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Germany. Only Denmark has yet to allow the pipeline in its territorial waters, but apparently they're working out the details. Now, Gerhard Schroeder, the former German chancellor and head of the Nord Stream 2 Operators Board of Directors, said that the Danish stand on the Nord Stream 2 contradicts European laws, and said that Denmark is putting at risk the timely completion of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline for delivering Russian gas to Europe, and said they could literally run the risk of going into a winter without secure, safe deliveries of natural gas. It's getting a little tense here. Apparently, J.P. Morgan is in trouble yet again. And they're looking at a fourth felony count for rigging the precious metals market. And J.P. Morgan's reputation has gotten so bad that 2 trial attorneys have written a book comparing the bank to the Gambino crime family. And we've been hearing this from all of these large Wall Street firms. They can't make their money the old-fashioned way, so they cheat. Okay, over in Illinois, they're trying to deal with their economic issue over there. And Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker thinks the solution to fixing Chicago's struggling, blood-soaked streets is legalizing marijuana statewide and opening a giant casino in Chicago. This is coming from Bloomberg. So, yeah, gambling and weed. Amazing here. All right, let's talk about the border situation. Apparently, acting ICE Director Mark Morgan is urging Congress to rework laws to detain families for longer periods and to permit the rapid deportation of unaccompanied minors. Well, definitely, let's accelerate the deportation. We can use one of those trebuchets from the Punkin Chunkin people. But basically, he criticized lawmakers for failing to change laws to discourage migrants from trekking to the United States. I imagine that's mostly coming from the Democrats. Okay, got to take a break for commercials. We will be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. Now, Mexico is finally starting to take some action consistent with their agreement with Donald Trump. And what they've done so far is basically freeze the bank accounts of known or suspected human traffickers. And they're sending their National Guard to the border with Guatemala to try and stem the flood coming on in. But in the end, we're going to have that wall built. And back in the 1990s, I think it was 1994, there was actually a bill passed in Congress to fund 700 miles of wall, of which only 31 miles got built. And there's never been an answer who ordered it stopped and where did all that money go. Now, Mexico is now claiming that some of the funding for the migrant caravans is coming from right here in the United States, and also from Great Britain, Africa, and Central America. Now, this one's a little bit bizarre. Apparently down in Dallas, Texas, there was this married couple awoke in the middle of the night to find an intruder rummaging through their room. He was an illegal immigrant, and he was buck naked. A nude illegal alien just rummaging through their room. So apparently the husband tackled him. They called the police and he's been hauled away. That's a little bit out there. Alrighty. Apparently a people smuggler down on the border started a 1-on-7 gunfight with border agents. Didn't work out too well. And apparently this suspect was smuggling Chinese nationals into the U.S. from Mexico. Apparently, a man wearing a crucifix was stabbed in the throat by a Moroccan national accused of religious hate. It's insane. This idea that we can just blend all the people together all at once and not have problems, just insane here. All right. A study published in Homeland Security Today reveals there is or has been detected an ISIS plot to send terrorists through the U.S.-Mexico border by taking advantage of smuggling and migration routes. The report references an ISIS fighter named Abu Henrique, a Canadian citizen with dual citizenship with Trinidad, who was captured in Syria in early May. Now, the International Center for the Study of Violent Extremism interviewed Henrique and learned from him ISIS planned to have terrorists travel from Syria to Central America and infiltrate America through the southern border, which means probably by now they're already here. Another reason we should have a fence. Let's see, we have the security threat, we have the health threat, we have the stress on our economy. This has to stop. All right, we're going to take a break for station identification. We'll be right back.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 3. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And over the break, I went over to MeWe.com and signed up. It was just name, password, email. That's it. And spent a little while looking around the various groups. They have a master index of different kind of activity like astronomy and so forth. Then you click that open and it lists all the groups that they have in there, which I was rather annoyed to see included a Flat Earth Society group. Anyway, alrighty. Over in Europe, they're still suffering the after effects, if you will, of the European elections that were a huge victory for populist parties. And the neoliberals, of course, are looking for somebody to blame, not realizing their own meddling in everybody's lives is what the problem was. So now they're trying to figure out some way they can further limit freedom of speech, so they can keep control of social media and make sure that the people only get a certain message leading up to elections. And that's what's going to happen next year. That's what all this social media banning is. They want you to get used to it by next year. So you won't even think about it. Is there a different point of view out there regarding the candidate? And you won't be able to find out. Now, Theresa May is trying to hedge her bets, if you will. She stepped down as leader of the Conservative Party, but she's still prime minister, and she's announced she will remain as prime minister until she believes that someone else can command the confidence of MPs. In other words, she's not announced a date to step down. She has announced an intent to stay on as long as she possibly can. So we'll see where that leaves. Do you remember the Skripal case? Big deal about Novichok, nerve agent, and the New York Times had a report that British officials had shared photos with the CIA depicting children and animals who'd been exposed to the Novichok and made extremely ill. Now, the Times reported that the British government has supplied the images of young children hospitalized and of dead ducks, inadvertently poisoned after interactions with Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia at a park in Salisbury in March of last year. The paper pointed to the sloppy work of the Russian operatives who were blamed for what London calls a nerve engine attack last year. Well, while the original story claimed the images were used to convince Donald Trump to expel 60 Russian diplomats from the U.S. in response to the Skripal episode, the Times now says there were no such photos. It was completely and totally made up. Okay, the U.S. Justice Department has officially submitted an extradition request for Julian Assange. And basically, this will signal that further U.S. charges against Assange are unlikely. And basically, the request was sent last Thursday. The United States treaty with Britain required that the request be sent within 60 days of Assange's 11th of April arrest at Ecuador's embassy in London. The same treaty bars the United States from prosecuting Assange for any alleged crimes beyond those outlined in the extradition request unless those acts occur after his extradition. So there's 18 counts in his indictment, and they're accusing him of violating the Espionage Act. That's going to be a hard one to sell. And conspiring to hack into a government computer. Now, this one is a little weird, and it has to do with a military tribunal over at West Point. And there was a cadet who was sentenced to 21 years in prison, supposedly for raping a sleeping classmate, and a 3 military judge panel overturned his conviction. So Jacob Weisenhunt was in the class of 2019 when he allegedly attacked a female cadet in her sleeping bag during cadet field training at Camp Buckner, in July of 2016. The judges ruled that had she actually been raped, she would have put up a fight and resisted, and the other soldiers, cadets sleeping nearby, would have heard it. And because they didn't, they said she just had morning after regrets. All right, we're going to take a phone call from Layla in Canada. Aloha, Layla. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I thought it was interesting that the gentleman who just called wondered why people from the Congo were in Texas and how they got there. If you've been following news in Israel for a while, you know that they built detention centers with barbed wire and high fences for all the Africans that were trying to get into Israel,
yes,
while the rest of the world was being forced to take African migrants along with Middle Eastern migrants. Israel was paying $3,000 and the airfare for the Africans that they did not ship back to their country to go to an alternate country. So my guess would be that they were that there's an agreement with Trump that he's going to allow them to come to the U.S. and these people were given probably their airfare and a few $1,000 and to come to the U.S. and contribute to the chaos here, because the more the North America is in a state of chaos, the less able we are ourselves and actually try to rebuild our society and our institutions of governance. Now, you mentioned also earlier in the show about it's called the Hasbara.
Yes.
HASBRA, that's the Israeli PR people who are, they get their tuition paid, they get paid probably per word or something every time they write a negative commentary on somebody's website where they post comments, or better yet, if they make phone calls to try to discredit someone and call them an agent of chaos, like the guy who did to me last week.
Yes.
Which I did not find very amusing, because theoretically complacency is the opposite of what we want. So while he may have thought he was being derogatory and he didn't contribute any information, only spoke pejoratively about me being a, quote, agent of chaos, because I'm bringing information to people that they don't have access to otherwise. And you don't have time to go over it constantly. But the other thing, too, is when someone called and asked, why am I so concerned about the genome and the fact that everybody's genome is being taken onto a global data bank, it's not just interesting to know what one's genetic history is. Have you been following astrobiology?
Yes.
When they start shipping, they're not going to send out a full human being into space. what they're very likely going to do is use the human genome to find the most favorable genetic features and combine it with a robot, call it a biobot or a humanoid human bot, and send them out into space first to see how they react. And furthermore, the other thing too is that with robots, you have to have some form of energy. The remarkable thing about human beings is that we generate our own energy as needed. We have the biofeedback loop where an energy apparently is generated within the mitochondrion. And how important is the mitochondrial cells? There's up to 1,000 to 2,000 mitochondrial cells in the liver alone, or the heart muscle. So it's really important that if they are going to create artificial intelligence and human robots or robots to replace humans, they need a genome that already has a proven pattern. It's like when you make a dress.
Okay, Leila.
You buy a pattern.
Yeah, Leila, I'm sorry to cut in on you, but there are some issues with what you're saying. First of all, you know, the genome, the DNA, is an organic molecule, and there's the issue of interfacing it to a mechanical device, electronic device, and the following question: why would you want to? Because I mean, robots work just fine without having to have DNA in them or mitochondria. And by the way, we don't just generate our own energy, we get it from the food that we eat.
Yes, but it has to be converted by the Krebs cycle, and that works through the mitochondria.
Yes.
So it's the mitochondrion that is basically the furnace that produces the energy. And we've already got, I mean, it's been going back to for decades that you can interface technology with the with humanoid genetic material. But the thing is, you have to find the most compatible material, and that's where the Global Genome Data Bank comes in handy. Not only that, if you're going to create artificial intelligence, you also have to be able to have a pattern to follow. And I have to say, although I have always been somewhat questioned the concept of intelligent design, the more I've read about the way our bodies function, just a little thing like how do the chromosomes stay separate? They have enough tension to be close enough, but far enough away and not mush together. The more I investigate that, the more I realize there is something that is beyond simply intelligent design. There is something there that we could not, that is not, I don't think could have occurred through random accidents, fortuitous random events. You know, whatever that entity is, there is definitely, I think, in my opinion, some kind of intelligent design there. But anyway, I hope the next time you get a Hasbara calling in, and I hope you've noticed that I'm the only one who seems to get calls trying to discredit what I've said. I hope that you will recognize it and not allow them to insult me or make derogatory comments. It's a disservice to everyone involved.
Yeah, we try and keep the show as civil as possible.
Yes, and especially when they have nothing to contribute other than to ridicule a previous caller. That's uncalled for and should not be tolerated. But to ensure that after this it won't happen to me again, I will look after myself and not put myself in that position again. One final comment, though, about your going the first week of September.
Yes.
Have you considered that that's when everybody is traveling and chaos occurs? That's Labor Day. That's when people are moving. Because that's the beginning of the school year.
Yes.
I don't know what your travel plans are, but I know I always try to avoid traveling around Labor Day, at the end of August, the beginning of September, because there's just so much chaos and all sorts of transportation systems.
We understand that, but unfortunately, you know, there are constraints on us. We're not going to travel, obviously, on Labor Day itself, but maybe a few days after. or maybe a few days
Right.
ahead.
Good luck.
I'm not really sure.
Good luck with that. I hope the move goes well, and I hope everything turns out well for you. Good luck, Mike.
All
Bye-bye.
right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. The phone lines are now open again. Okay, a lot of weird stuff going on in hotels lately. Apparently, there was this hotel down in the Dominican Republic, and a woman from Delaware said she was beaten and left for dead in January. The hotel is now saying she demanded $2.2 million in compensation, saying that if they didn't pay, she would go public with the story, which she has now done. Apparently, again, Dominican Republic, 3 U.S. tourists found dead just days apart in the same resort. I don't know, maybe food poisoning here. Over in Fiji, a mystery disease kills a Texas couple. David and Michelle Paul of Fort Worth, Texas, were on this vacation, and they came down with a serious illness one day before they were due to fly home. And whatever hit them, it moved quickly, and both died within days of each other. So the U.S. Embassy for Fiji, Kiribati, Nauru, Tonga, and Tuvalu said it had no reason to believe at the moment the Paul's deaths were evidence of a threat to public health, and that it's working with the local authorities to determine what killed the couple. Okay. The abortion debate rages on, and apparently actress and pro-abortion advocate Busy Phillips testified before Congress about abortion basically a week ago, including a notable exchange during which Phillips refused to answer definitively whether an abortion survivor has the right to life. In other words, the baby actually survives the abortion. Does that baby have a right to life? And Busy Phillips refused to answer. Now, the question came, I mean, to me, the answer is yes. It's a person at that point. The question came from Texas Republican Louis Gohmert, was based on the testimony of Melissa Ohden, the founder of the Abortion Survivors Network, who is herself the survivor of a failed saline infusion abortion in 1977. So Gohmert asked, would you agree that somebody who has survived an abortion like Melissa Ohden has the right, once she's born to life, to control over her body where someone else doesn't take her life? And Phillips tried to deflect the question with a joke. She said, although I played a doctor in TV, I'm not actually a physician. Gohmert refused to go for the deflection and said, I think it's something very important that you tell us if you think somebody who survives an abortion has a right to life. And all Phillips would reply was, I think that it's something that's very important. I don't believe that a politician's place is to decide what's best for a woman. It's a choice between a woman and her doctor. In other words, they're still pushing this idea that a baby who survives the abortion can still be killed. I mean, that is real savage stuff. I'm sorry. Okay. The latest argument coming on out from the Democrats in support of abortion. They're trying to attack these so-called heartbeat bills, where once a fetal heartbeat is detected, abortion becomes illegal. And now the Democrats are saying that even if an unborn child has a heartbeat, it still lacks a soul. And if it doesn't have a soul, it's okay to kill it. Well, how do you quantify a soul in legal or medical terms? Obviously, you can't. A heartbeat is more substantial. And this one really angered me. Apparently, Teen Vogue ran an article instructing young girls on how to get abortions without their parents' consent. Bringing in millions of illegal immigrants, trying to get us white people to kill ourselves off, kill our next generation off. I'm not sure what the agenda is here, but there's clearly an agenda. All righty. Wendy's Hamburgers is taking a bit of a stand. You've got all these companies who are raising money for abortion. We're going to raise money for abortion. Wendy's is promoting adoption. Okay. Let's see. A unit of drug maker Insys has pled guilty to this U.S. opioid bribe scheme, where they were basically fraud charges as part of a $225 million deal with the Justice Department, resolving claims that the drug maker bribed doctors to prescribe an addictive opioid medication. Okay, we've got to take a break for commercials. We've got a caller waiting on the line, and we'll be right back.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs. Memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. And I just got this wonderful little email regarding abortion. Why is it that a bacteria can be considered a sign of life on Mars, but a heartbeat on Earth is not considered a sign of life? Good point. All right, we're going to go to the phones here. Don in Iowa. Aloha, Don. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, Mike, you were talking about Representative Steve King of Iowa, and he got on the wrong side of the powers that be. He's actually a very soft-spoken guy. If you've ever seen him talk, he doesn't go on a rant or anything, but some of his stuff is kind of that he says will go against the grain of all these jackasses around there in Washington D.C. One thing I saw him say, I remember him saying this about less than a year ago. This was not specifically what he was supposedly got in trouble for. I think the thing he got in trouble for is he had said something to the effect that it's okay to be white or something like that. I forget. Do you remember exactly what he got in trouble for?
I don't really remember, but I know that if you say it's okay to be white, you get attacked for that. Apparently, somebody just sent me another email saying if you try and no, actually they put it up as a member story. If you try and put "it's okay to be white" in the Google search window, it changes it. You're not allowed to type that in. I mean, that's really out there.
He said something along the lines that defending white people, and that was beyond the pale as far as everybody's concerned. But before that, I remember he was talking to. He was in one of these House hearings. There was somebody from the FBI. I don't remember who it was, Peter Strzok, or it might have been one of these other FBI people. And he asked a question. He knew the answer already, but he asked a question: when the FBI interviews somebody, do they record? Do they record it? And the FBI it doesn't. They said no, we don't record it. We write it down on what they call a 302.
Yes.
And this guy, Steve King, says, well, I don't understand that. Every other police department from the city, county, state, any other police organization in the country is required by law to tape the interview, either videotape or at least have it audio tape. And the FBI doesn't do it. Ask yourself the question: the FBI, with all their huge budget, it's not like they can't afford a tape recorder. They got money coming out of the yin yang, and supposedly they're all high-tech wizardry, but they don't want to record it because if they recorded it, they couldn't lie on those 302s, and they wouldn't have the ability to manipulate everything the way they do. That has to be the reason. But I don't know what Steve King did wrong, but he got people mad at him. But he's just a mild-mannered congressman as far as I've ever seen. Okay, I'll let you go, Mike. Thanks.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to let you go. And getting on back to our news here. Okay. Gentleman by the name of Thomas Franzen. He's 37 years old. He's a cancer patient. And apparently he has been self-medicating with THC edibles. And the government basically arrested him. They were going to throw him in prison for 4 years, which he probably won't last all that long. But basically, he was forced to plead guilty in Kane County Circuit Court to possession of more than 5,000 grams, that's 176 ounces of cannabis, a felony that carried a prison term from 12 to 60 years. Now, he ordered these THC-infused chocolates from California to treat his cancer. And because he ordered such a large amount of the chocolates, police accused him of trafficking it. Now, fortunately, somebody took a look at the situation and basically dropped all the charges except one. So he's probably going to get probation on that one. Okay, states that allow medical cannabis have lower rates of opioid prescriptions and lower rates of opioid addictions. And this is data from privately insured adults. New findings from the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston revealed this correlation. In states that allow medical marijuana, there's less abuse of opiates. Up in New York City, they've closed their 10th Jewish school for violating the vaccine order. This is a school in an Orthodox neighborhood in Brooklyn, and it continued to admit unvaccinated students in violation of the city order. So the Central UTA Satmar School for Boys and Hasidic School in the Williamsburg neighborhood will be closed. Well, they closed it yesterday. All right, we're coming up here on a commercial break. We'll be back after these few words from our sponsors, so stay tuned, and we'll have more news for you.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, I mean the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay. unemployment getting
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And the Vatican has decided to wade on in to this whole gender fluidity movement. And to nobody's surprise, they're out there saying there are two genders, just like it says in the Bible, man, woman. There is no spectrum. And apparently the Vatican has just rejected that idea that gender is fluid. Over at the Chicago Museum, they have this T-Rex, most complete skeleton ever found. It's named Sue, after the name of the lady who led the team that found the fossil. But now Chicago's Field Museum is insisting that you refer to its T-Rex skeleton using gender-neutral pronouns. You can't call it her any longer. Now this next story, this is going to be a little shocking, and it's a little sick. And to me, I think this shows that this gender fluidity has gone way too far. And it has to do with this 9-year-old boy who was stabbed to death by his mother, Rosana de Silva Candido, and her lesbian partner, Caclia Damasceno Paseo. And they basically stabbed him. He had been suffering for a very long time because of a botched gender reassignment surgery they did right at home. They didn't take him to a doctor, didn't take him to a hospital. Neither one of these ladies had medical training. They just sliced off the penis, and apparently there were complications. The mother just decided to turn her son into a girl. No, she turned him into a eunuch, but not a girl. I'm appalled by that story. I really am. Earlier in the year, there was this situation where a gentleman named Willie McCoy was found sleeping over the steering wheel of his car, was in a restaurant drive-thru, I guess after hours, and police, when they were checking him out, noticed he had a gun on the seat next to him, although the magazine was part way out of the handle. And apparently somebody got a twitchy finger, and they shot this guy 55 times in 3.5 seconds. And let's see. Okay, just trading some messages. Anyway, these 6 Vallejo officers have been basically cleared. And the report is saying that shooting somebody 55 times in 3.5 seconds is in line with contemporary training and police practices associated with the use of deadly force. In other words, they're saying these cops are trained to just shut it down like that. It sounded like a machine gun. Okay, we're going to get back to the phones here. Excuse me. Just belching here all over the place. Rick in Arizona. Aloha, Rick. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Okay, first of all, how am I coming in? I was breaking up when I talked to the board op.
You sound okay so far.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying this. I was watching Roger Stone from Alex Jones' show yesterday.
Yeah.
He came out and he started talking. He's begging for money because he's got bills, but he was talking about how great Trump was. And he said that Donald Trump created 6 million new jobs. And over the last couple of days ago, you guys have been discussing, who's a Jew and who isn't a Jew. Who was the father of the 12 tribes? Was it Jacob or Isaac?
I don't remember. It's not exactly my field of study.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. The father of the 12 tribes. All right. You can link your heritage back to him.
Okay. Now you're starting to break up.
The Jews are a family. Okay. All right. How am I coming in now?
A little bit better.
if you can link your heritage back to the 12 tribes, you are considered a Jew. The Jews are a family. It's like, you know, it's like you have a big family. You know, it's your cousin looks like your uncle, or
Yes.
your uncle, or your, just, you know how that is. They've been breeding and inbreeding over 5,000 years. They almost take on characteristics of a race. But that's who the Jews are. They are a family. And so, like, all 12, if you have 12 kids, there's usually 3 or 4 of them in there that can be, and the black sheep of the
Okay,
family.
Rick, you're breaking up
problem.
again. Rick, you're breaking up. Is there some point to where all this is going?
Yeah, well, you were discussing this issue with Layla and a couple other people a couple days ago.
That was last week, yeah.
And so, so for you with Jewish heritage, I thought you might want to know that you are considered a Jew if you link your heritage back to the 12 tribes. That's all. And then they crossbreed with the races, and that's where you get a Chinese Jew. That's where you get German Jews. The Ashkenazis crossbreeded with Jews that were there in Russia. So the Ashkenazis do have Jewish blood.
Okay, Rick, this call is not working. I'm sorry, but you keep breaking up rather badly. So we'll have to try again some other time, all right? Okay, so we're gonna let him go. Wonderful technology here. Okay, so we're talking about these police officers in Vallejo that basically just chopped up this guy with their guns. 55 shots in 3.5 seconds. They have been totally cleared. On the other end of the discipline story is over in Ridgetop, Tennessee. And the city has completely disbanded its police department after the police chief publicly complained that the city's mayor and vice mayor were forcing him to enforce an illegal ticket quota program. Now, in Tennessee, it is illegal for police departments to have or enforce a ticket quota program. And the controversy erupted earlier this year when Ridgetop Police Chief Brian Morris secretly recorded a conversation with the mayor and city council in which the mayor apparently pressured Morris to write a certain number of traffic tickets in order to avoid cuts to his department. And Ridgetop Mayor Tony Reasoner denied that he imposed a quota, simply saying that it would take the revenues from about 210 tickets to pay for a new officer. So a special prosecutor was appointed to investigate. He found that city officials definitely violated the law, but the prosecutor declined to prosecute city officials because they did not make any personal gain from the program. All right, that's one way to do it here. Okay, over at YouTube, they are still censoring like crazy. And everyone alt-right or alt-light is getting their channels deleted, demonetized, or at least having some of their videos deleted. But apparently, YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki admitted she was personally involved in the decision to demonetize conservative commentator Steven Crowder's video channel. She also admitted she didn't review all the videos that caused a red flag for some people. So apparently, in remarks at Recode's Code Conference in Scottsdale, the YouTube CEO addressed the ongoing controversy around Crowder and his videos. And apparently the complaint came in that Crowder has been using homophobic language. Okay. Up in Washington State, their state Supreme Court has ruled again that a Christian florist broke anti-discrimination laws by not arranging flowers for a gay wedding. Just go to a different flower shop. Don't make a federal case out of it. Over at Amazon, apparently they're changing their marketing strategy and they're dropping all the small brands to focus on marketing large corporate products like Procter & Gamble. Alrighty, over in Scotland, they have found cracks on a nuclear reactor. Now, the reactors have been closed since October 2018 as the result of a fault, but EDF Energy, who owns the plant, was trying to make a case for turning them back on. And apparently, according to Edinburgh Live, the reactors have what is called keyway root cracking, where the graphite moderator cores in the reactors develop cracks leading to instabilities. In turn, this could lead to a major nuclear accident. By the way, since somebody asked me to make a point about this, you might want to look for HBO's miniseries Chernobyl. I think there's a total of 5 episodes. It's getting rave reviews. It's very good. I watched it myself. I've got it on my DVR. And it tells a lot about what happened, what really happened, how they tried to cover it up. But it's a very, very good show, and it's well worth watching it. In this country, of course, we have a problem with nuclear waste. Places like Hanford, for example. And right now, the government has come up with a way to save $40 billion in cleanup costs across the entire U.S. nuclear weapons complex. And under the plan, material that's languished for decades in nuclear weapons production sites like Washington, Idaho, and South Carolina would be taken to low-level disposal facilities in Utah or Texas. And the way they make it all work and save the money is they're going to redefine what constitutes hazardous nuclear waste. So what was deadly nuclear waste yesterday is going to be deemed to be moderately safe nuclear waste today, so we can use cheaper equipment and less protection to get it loaded into the truck. I would hate to be on that work crew here. Now, we've all heard about pharmaceutical resistant infections. That over time, the overuse of antibiotics has led to the rise of the superbugs. Well, it turns out it's not just with infections. There are now plants that are evolving to resist herbicides. And one of them is the water hemp. This is a broadleaf weed common to corn and soybean fields. And apparently it is now resistant to multiple common herbicides. It's getting much, much harder to kill. So, okay, let's see. Facial recognition data collected by U.S. Customs Agency has been hacked. And apparently there was a malicious cyber attack resulted in photos of airport passengers and other personal data harvested by U.S. Customs and Border Patrol being stolen by unknown actors. And the incident further underscores the need to put the brakes on these efforts and for Congress to investigate the agency's data practices. Now, the best way, I love this next quote, the best way to avoid breaches of sensitive personal data is not to collect and retain it in the first place. I'm absolutely in agreement. The only data Customs should have is of, like, for example, known smugglers. They don't need my photo. They don't need my data. I don't do anything. I'm a very boring person. Okay. Apparently over in Great Britain, MI5 has been accused of mishandling some of their bulk surveillance data. Excuse me. And they've been accused by the High Court of violating data collection and storage privileges by storing private citizens' information in bulk without proper protections. And MI5 has no control of its storage of these vast volumes of people's calls, messages, web browsing history. which the agency managed to obtain on the basis of surveillance warrants often issued under false pretexts. Okay, we've got a caller on the line. Glenn in Philadelphia. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Mike. First of all, congratulations on your soon-to-be refugee status.
Yes.
Have you considered coming into the contiguous 48 by way of the northern Mexico border so you can get Medicare and EBT card and stuff?
I'd have to brush up on my Spanish, but it's definitely a thought.
Yeah, just thought of that. I actually called about the story you talked about, the man who was shot 55 times in like 3.5 seconds.
Yes.
Well, first of all, how could they even know the time duration that occurred? That seems like a stretch. But his name, the man's name was Willie McCoy.
Yeah.
He went by the nickname Slim, and he was a pool hustler. Now they need to, in order to find the perpetrator of his shooting, they need to be looking to the friends of a man named Leroy. Jim Walker.
Yeah.
Jim Walker. There's Big Jim Walker.
Well,
yeah. So just Slim hustled Jim, and then Jim's friend. Yeah, Jim had him killed.
No, Willie McCoy was shot by the cops.
Oh, well, no. Oh, okay. Because I was thinking, you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit in the wind.
Okay.
You don't.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We're going to let you go. I knew that's where you were trying to go with this thing. All right, we're coming up here on our last commercial break on today's show here, followed by the last segment on our show here, followed by the end of the show, followed by John Stadmiller. And we'll be back after these words from our sponsor. So stay tuned.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more, plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org. and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, last segment of our program today. And we're talking about all the censorship that's going on in social media. And apparently there is this whistleblower who's been working with Project Veritas, who basically blew the whistle that Pinterest censors conservative, pro-life content. Apparently Pinterest identified the whistleblower, and he or she has now been fired. So apparently, as one example, Pinterest shuts down the pro-life org Live Actions account after listing it as a pornography group. Now that's just plain mean. Over at Google, their CEO is taking censorship to a new level. They're going to limit content even if it doesn't actually violate the policies. In other words, it's our platform. We're going to just use it however we want to. Over at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, they've issued a new report that social media platforms are trying to be a little bit more transparent about content removal requests, but they're still not being very good about notifying users when content is removed. And unless you're in the habit of looking at your old posts on a regular basis, your content could be removed and you might not know about it for a while. So I mentioned this earlier in the show, but apparently there are new social media platforms popping up in other countries where speech is still free. And a lot of Americans can basically look for those platforms as well. Okay. The big social media is having their time before Congress. This antitrust investigation into Google, Amazon, Apple, and Facebook. And they're at least taking a look at how they affect the news media landscape. Probably less Amazon, more the others. And the investigation coincides with the publication of a new report from the News Media Alliance, which concludes that Google received an estimated $4.7 billion with a B in revenue last year from crawling and scraping news publishers' content. And that's not a coincidence, because the News Media Alliance is a media industry lobby group. So, boy, they made a lot of money over there. The NSA, no such agency, is once again saying that if you're using outdated versions of Microsoft Windows, get them patched up to date, because apparently the worm that took down the computers in Baltimore is still running rampant out there, and it's a nasty one. All right, there's the music. Time for me to get on out of here and talk to Jim Goddard up there in Vancouver. So stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please take what you learn here, share it with everybody that you know. Please donate to Republic Broadcasting. Please donate to whatreallyhappened.com. We'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.